Good afternoon and welcome to the International English Language System. This is a mock speaking test conducted by Mulik English Academy. Today I am your examiner and my examiner code is S4578 and today's exam is divided in three parts. And before we go to the main exam, I will ask you some personal questions about yourself. So are you ready?
Yes,
Sure. What's your name?
my name is Rashida Maliha. You can call me Maliha.
Okay, so where do you come from?
My mother is from Mamisi and my father is from Dinasur, but we live in Dhaka.
Okay, how old are you?
I am 12 years old.
Okay. What about your school and studies? Tell me about it.
I read in class 7 and Manipur High School and College and in English version, and there I feel comfortable in English version because read. I like to study in English, and my studies are going well, and the teachers are very friendly, and they help us when we need any help, any kind of help with our studies.
Okay, so what about your favorite color and food?
My favorite color is purple, and my favorite food is biryani.
Okay, let's move to an exam. The first part is food and cooking. So, what sort of food do you like eating most?
Generally, I like eating most. Uh, ho- I like to eat homemade food, and especially it will be biryani because its texture is very spicy and there are many spices are added in there, and it tastes so good. So I like this.
Would you normally just the cooking in your home?
Generally, my mother cooks at home, but sometimes we help her by washing dishes and preparing foods.
Do you watch cookery programs on TV?
No, I don't. But when I need to know any recipe, then I search it in website and then I watch the programs and then I try to cook myself.
Okay, so in general, do you prefer eating out or eating at home?
In general, I prefer eating at home because it is more cheaper than eating it out, and all the foods are well cooked and they are very uh, they are very comfortable to eat in one's house, and that's why I prefer eating at home.
Okay, that was the end of part one. Let's move to part two. In this part, I'll give you a pen and a paper, and you will have to talk about the topic for 1 or 2 minutes. Here's your paper, and here's your pen. You have 1 minute in your hand to take some notes. Your time starts now. Your time is over.
Okay, this is a very good topic about apartments, and an apartment I know, uh, which is located in Uttara, and that apartment is my aunt's, and the apartment is about 10 story of buildings, and she lives in the 8th floor of the building, and in her apartment there are 3 bedrooms, 3 washrooms, and 3 balconies, and a big drawing and dining room. In her bedroom there are many luxurious furnitures, and the walls are decorated with colorful paints, and there are many artifacts and sculptures in her bedroom, and there is a big almirah in her room. And if we move on the dining, there is a big dining table in her dining room, and there are many
Other
uh,
furnitures.
other furnitures and many artificial flowers and many other things, and all the rooms are decorated with interior, and these are very expensive. And in her apartment, well, in her apartment uh, there are many windows, and her apartment is full of fresh air and sunlight, and in her balcony there are many flowers, trees, and she waters the plants daily. And I love I like her apartment because of the apartment is very good and it is very decorated, and the location is very is the location
Okay.
is perfect.
That was the end of part two. Let's move on to part three. The first part of the part three is different types of home. What kinds of home are most popular in your country?
Apartment homes are very popular in my country because Bangladesh is a very populated country, and as every people has to live in a shelter, so then apartment buildings are created, and in apartment buildings there can be many families, so that's why apartment buildings are very
To socialize.
yes.
What do you think are the advantages of living in a house rather than an apartment?
There are many advantages, like in home there are many space, and all the rooms are very are well ventilated. But in apartment there is no scope of ventilation because there are many apartments beside one apartment, and in homes you can you can set up a swimming pool or a garden or activities room like music, exercise, and etc. And you can you can give one separated rooms, but in apartments you cannot provide separated rooms for everyone, so there that's the advantages.
Limitations.
Yes.
Do you think that everyone would like to live in a large home? Why is that?
Yes, I agree with this because uh, every people like to live in comfort and in pleasure, and in large homes there may be very space enough to live there, and many activities can be done. And in large homes there may be a swimming pool or a big garden, and people can decorate it with their own, but in apartments they couldn't do this, and that's why people love to live in large homes.
Okay. So, how easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
It is very easy to find a place for live, but it is very hard to find a perfect or comfortable place for live. In our country, there are many apartments, and all the apartments uh, are not well structured, and many of them are not well prepared before building it. So there are a short number of buildings which are more comfortable and perfect for living, but there is very large number of buildings which are not perfect for living. So that's why it is very easy to find a place for live, but it is very hard to find a perfect place for living.
Do you think it's better to rent or buy a place to live in?
I think it is better to buy a building because buy an apartment, because if I rent an apartment, I have to pay it for every month, and it costs me very largely. And but if I if I buy that apartment, I have to pay it once, and I can decorate it as I like. But in rented apartments, I there are many limitations, like customizing rooms or many problems like water supplying and many other. If I buy a apartment, I can fix these problems, and that's why I think buying a apartment is well than a rented
Better.
better than a rented home.
Do you agree that there is a right age for young adults to stop living with their parents?
Yes, there is a right age, but because when people are adult and they have to separate,
You have to be
they
separated
they have to be separated from their families because of well education and
for better education,
for better education uh, or for their
family issues.
yes, family issues and office and they work in the cities and this and it is perfect for rural areas, not for town people, because in towns there are many families where the children are separated from their parents, but their parents when their parents need help of their children and they feel sick, so then they are very
Lonely.
lonely, and they cannot
Any
get
help.
they cannot
They
get
cannot get any help.
any help from their
Children.
children's and
Children.
children's and I think it is better for the rural people but not for the town people, so that's why
That's why
that's
you
why
think
I think that there is a right age for living
without, without your parents.
without yes, for town, not for town people but for rural areas.
Or does it depends on the family?
Yes, it also depends on the family. Is the family is rich or poor?
That was the end of part three, and also the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time. If you like the video,